Hello, my name is Paul Howell, and I'm going to be working on milestone 6. So I'm going to start with background music overlaps if options menu is opened. Expectation, the background music plays normally. Observed, the background music plays normally until options menu is opened, then a new background music plays overlapping the previous background music. So when I go into the game, next, remove wall of light alarm. The wall of light alarm is currently madness inducing and must go.
What's that?
That hurts. Wall of light doesn't destroy grenades. Expected. If a grenade is thrown through a wall of light, the grenade is destroyed and doesn't explode. Observed. If a grenade is thrown through a wall of light, it passes through as though the wall of light weren't there. Drowning sound. When drowning, there should be a sound indicating you're taking damage. Also stops if the player dies. Um, when unpossessed, on timeout, the player can clip through walls. Expected. When unpossessed, the enemy will pop out in front of the player, not clipped into a wall, or the player will pop out in front of the enemy, not clipped into a wall. Observe. When the player unpossesses on timeout while facing into a wall, they will clip into the wall. When unpossessed on click, the enemy will clip through the wall. That is where when you unpossess someone, they pop out in front of you, and timeout possession, you pop out in front of them. Oh yes. Wall, possess. Oh yes. Replace the inventory screen with the upgrade menu screen. Description: the inventory screen is currently has no use. Tab should go to the upgrade menu instead of inventory. Upgrade menu should not link to the inventory screen. So you go to the game, I press tab, there's the upgrade menu. I don't have to go to the inventory screen.
What's that?
Add rewire and gold owned to weapon wheel. The weapon wheel should show owned rewire tools and gold. The weapon wheel, over here there's the two gold stout jungle scarabs and rewire tools. Which links to my next one. Add ability name to weapon wheel when hovered. In the weapon wheel, the name of the ability weapon should display when hovered over. So back to the weapon wheel. The name is shown crossbow and it's shown here. So all of them doesn't show up for those because I do not have those. Weapon wheel deactivate on same open button. Z should close the weapon wheel like how it opens it. Z, 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 Z. You don't have to click close to close the weapon wheel. Edit interactable indicator for certain situations. Change the item pickup indicator pickup to eat for food items and also for other interactables such as power rebar switches or Anubis bot. Those already have that feature built in, but it causes issues if, it can cause issues. The indicator will only pop up when the player can interact with it, not just when they're close enough. I changed the description because it was a duplicate.
Where did you go?
When the player looks at tell player when an item is full when they look at it to pick it up. When the player looks at an item when their inventory is full of that item, the prompt will say full instead of pick up.
What was that? Huh, there you are. In the wind.
Remove the max health number under the health bar. There's a number under the health bar that should be removed. There used to be a number underneath the health bar on the left side. That is now gone. It's useless. Blink into rat tunnel kills player. If player blinks into a rat tunnel, they die instantly. Player should not be able to blink into a rat tunnel. Which leads me to my next one. When the player attacks a rat tunnel, they die instantly. Player should not die when they attack a rat tunnel. Stop it. And when the player is low on health, a widget should pop up signifying the player to use a health potion, if only if the player has enough health potions.
There you are. What was that? There you are.
I'm going to go back to the main menu and go to this one because that'll be easier to show. So, stop it! When I'm low on health, I take a health potion and it says widget pop up. Or, ow! Again, it pops up automatically. Thank you very much. That has been me. Have a nice day.
Hello, my name is Trevor Babcock from Team Dishonored, and we are going to load up the project that has the latest sprint progress from this week. So the first thing we're going to look at is objective names aren't centered. So this is a bug, and we just want the intended effect for names of objectives to be centered over the objective arrow. So loading into a level here with a objective marker, we look over here to the right. This name with a distance is centered over the arrow, and before what was happening was with these longer names, it was basically pushing further to the right over the arrow, and it did not look great. So this fix just makes it centered and looks nicer, especially for these longer objective names. So the next bug that was worked on this sprint was rats don't chase the player, and the effect that we want is when rats spot the player, they should chase after the player. If the rat is part of a swarm, all rats in the swarm spot and chase the player. Now, this was a problem with the rats having physics enabled, and was a series of issues that was happening. But as soon as they spot me, they're in a swarm, and all 3 of them will spot me despite where the other 2 were looking. It only takes 1 to spot me. And if we run over to this group of rats, and we try to get the attention of 1 here, now all of them will come and chase after me right here, as a swarm should. So the next thing that was worked on is another bug for the end mission, and end mission data wouldn't save, and so the intended effect is if the player leaves the level data saves, so when they resume, the end mission screen displays accurate data. So take a look at that. And now what I'm going to do is quickly play through the level, and at the end I'm going to save, exit, come back. We're going to test a few things and just make sure that this works. So speed through the level, get to the end. Okay, so upon completing this, we see that we killed some hostiles, some bodies were found. So these check marks, we were detected. This is independent from the bodies found, and we did kill 4 enemies, so this is unchecked. And we found 40 of the 220 scarabs in the level. Now, if we replay and we die here, and we resume from last save, which is a quick save that we got before. This should activate a quick save that we got before we finished the level. So if we do that, we load that quick save and we escape again, and this loads the same information. We'll see similar information, but unfortunately there are some still bugs with the system, but we see that it is now saving information, which is much closer to what the intended effect is.
This is Liam Crowley with the Milestone 6 sprint review. As you can see, I just got the latest version, and I'm going to be opening it up for Perforce. While that loads up, we'll go look at the bottom one, which is where we're starting, since the top one is to close the game, show that's working. First up is world space sounds. Sounds made by enemies, items, etc. should be heard in world space. When an enemy talks or bottle breaks, they can be heard at the world location, so the actor. What was happening is they were being played in 2D space. It didn't have attenuation enabled. So let's hop in here, throw this that way, turn to the left, and if you're wearing headphones, you can hear them happening to the left. And then this time, same thing, to the right, same thing. And then if I throw it this way, there's an enemy that direction, so you should hear the enemy to the right and the bottle straight on. So there you go. And also there was a bonus of that guy forgetting me in the back. So that's clearly working. Back to main menu. Let's go up to the next one. Menu pivots. Menu should have their pivots universally formatted. All the pivots are oriented in a uniform direction. The one exception is the main menu, which is different so that the player knows that they're at like the root menu. But if you go into levels, load game, options, credits, all of this, they're all tilted by negative 4.5 degrees. If I go open the pause menu, we got the save game as well. Pause menu actually got messed up at some point, so that needs redone. But everything else is universally oriented as intended. So if we hop back here, credits buttons. Credits buttons should be formatted closer to buttons in other menus. We saw that briefly, but let's go back. As you can see, they match the tone of all the rest of them. It doesn't look too different. Before it was perfectly level, and these didn't look like buttons, and it was hard to know they were clickable until you look at them. If you click these, they'll bring them to links to our portfolios, those of us who have them set up. Anyways. But yeah, the credits buttons are formatted closer to buttons in the other menus. I'm going to take a quick sip of water real quick. Okay, stairs block line of sight. When standing behind stairs, this player can be spotted, which is counterintuitive. They should block enemies' line of sight. So we'll go back, new game, and run around this a long way. I have some stairs set up around that corner. so that they don't detect me when they're not supposed to. But if I go back here, you can see he's not picking me up. The AI perception, or pawn sensing rather, is detecting me, but it's doing a line trace and then that, or a sphere trace rather, and it's thick enough to where it's blocked by these stairs. If I go out to the side, you can see this guy's working, and he's going to keep shooting at me for a couple seconds until he gets dropped. Every 5 seconds it checks to see if they still have contact, and there that was. And now he runs to investigate that. Since it's too short for him, he goes up top. But yeah, as you can see, stairs block line of sight. Next up is errors on throwables passing through the wall of light. Throwable code will say access none after being deleted by a wall of light. Needs a few is valid nodes to make this not happen. So we don't have the message log in the build, so I'll just break down what was happening.
What was that?
Okay, this guy detected me, so. Okay, I don't know what was going on there. But basically, when the player would walk up real close and stand here and throw the throwable, it would instantly spawn the throwable, but then get deleted by the gate. So now it checks at 2 different locations whether the throwable is still valid. Had to check twice because if it did it just the first time, then it would get somehow in the time it takes for the code to go through deleting it was longer than the time it took to get through different sections of the code for the throwable. So I had to check at 2 different places depending on how far away you are. But yeah, basically it was deleting before the spawning code for throwing the throwable was actually functioning. Basically, there's a static mesh attached to the hand, and then when you click to throw it, hides the static mesh and then spawns a completely new throwable, and that's what was triggering that and causing issues. But yeah, it now no longer says access none in the message log, and there are no errors. Next up is pickup indicator. Should indicate to the player what they are targeting. Pickup indicator says press F to pick up, and it would be more helpful if it said press F to pick up bullet, etc. for all items in the game. So in here, pick up grenade, pick up rewire tool, pick up scarab, pick up cheese or eat cheese wheel, pick up mana potion, health potion, pick up bottle, pick up bullet, sleep dart, incendiary bolt, pick up bolt, and rune. As you can see, all of these have different pieces of code. So now it just fetches the title of what you are targeting, so it'll give the user more prompts. Next up is coin retexture. Coins currently imply that a currency system exists when it doesn't, so we renamed coins to scarabs. Right now they look the same. These very much look like coins, but there's no sense in mocking up a whole asset when we'll be going into collaboration with art teams pretty soon. So left it as is, but if you go here, you can see here's our scarabs, collectible item, no known use. But yeah, as you can see, there's our new scarab icon, and they're renamed to scarabs. And then the rest will come when the with art team. So all of our art requests have been updated as well. Next up, we have button feedback. Buttons should have auditory feedback. Completion criteria: when hovering over a button, there's a faint auditory feedback, and when pressing a button, there's a distinct auditory feedback. You've probably noticed this as I've been going through this, but as you can hear, it's making these distinct clicking sounds as I go through the menus, and that happens in every one of the menus. Before there was no auditory cues. They would change colors, but there was no auditory cues. Next up, volume highlights. Volume options shouldn't highlight like they're buttons. Upon hovering, there's an option in the options menu. Upon hovering over an option in the option menu, the selection won't highlight like it is a button. When hovering over the slider will highlight to show interactability. So let's hop into the options menu. Now these faintly change color to show that you're able to do something but don't do much. They still click to show that there's something to be done, and then if you go over here, then these fully change color. They're a little gross looking, but hopefully we'll be able to coordinate with some art teams to make it look better later. And as you can hear, updates the sound as it gets changed. And yeah, so these don't look like buttons, but the sliders do. Before, these looked like, if you hovered over this, it would look exactly the same as one of these, which was confusing. And then the very last thing up is exit to Windows from pause. When in the pause menu, there should be a button for exiting the game. So if we hop back in here, new game, there's quit to desktop now. Before we had back to main menu, which of course brings you here, and we always had this quit. But in the pause menu, you can go quit to desktop, and it closes the game. Last thing up is I did some improvements to my dockyard, but it wasn't satisfactory enough for me, so I moved it back to to-do, and we'll be covering that on our next sprint, whenever that is. Thank you for watching, and have a great evening.
Alright, hello, my name is James Klingon, and today I'm doing the Milestone 6 review. So first off, let's go ahead and get the build opened up. Adjust the audio a little bit. Alright, so first off, let's start with DIH 284, which is drop attack, so player can look away from the enemy while they are attacking, causing them to miss. So the intention was the player kills the enemy when they drop attack. What was happening is the player can move the camera when they attack, causing the drop attack to miss. So this has been fixed. To where when you're drop attacking, you can no longer move the camera or the mouse until it's finished. Next, we're going to check out DIH 287, which is the drop attack triggers the end screen before they kill the enemy. So what was happening was when you go to kill the enemy with the objective marker wasn't checking to see if the enemy was alive or dead or knocked out. It was just testing for collisions, so you can run to the objective and this runs an enemy, and that will complete the objective. So the objective now tests or checks if the enemy is alive or dead, or past knocked out. So if the enemy is dead or knocked out, it goes to end screen. So we're gonna come over here and come along these rooftops. And I'm gonna drop attack the target. And now you attack the target, it goes to end screen. Okay, next up, we're gonna go the last drop attack one, which is DIH 321, which is the drop attack text. So the prompt for a drop attack sometimes wouldn't go away. And so that's fixed. So drop attack prompt should now correctly go away, as it's disappearing when it's supposed to. Alright. So next we're going to jump over to climbing. DIH 277. Climbing barely working when the player tries to climb while facing forward. So the intention was the player was supposed to climb ledges. What was happening was that when you're facing forward, the player would bounce up and down when trying to climb. And eventually when they either climb up or get disengaged from the ledge, they will take a bunch of fall damage and die. So climbing now works like it's supposed to. So next we're going to go to bug for a stealth knockout text, or a stealth knockout prompt. The prompt for a stealth knockout sometimes didn't go away when you try to stealth knock out somebody, cancel and walk away, or if you looked up or down. So intended was this prompt supposed to go away when you wait for the enemy, or if you cancel a stealth KO and walk away. So we can come over here to this person. So stealth knockout text is also disappearing when it's supposed to. And if I go to knockout and cancel, move and walk away, it disappears like it's supposed to. Okay. And this one, DIH322, is a bug for the knockout camera. What was happening was the player was able to look around while knocking someone out, and the intention was the player is unable to look around while stealth knocking out an enemy. So if you come over here and try to stealth knock him out, move the camera, it doesn't work. So you can only move the camera if you are not stealth knocking out someone. And the last one, which is DIH323, which was stealth kill range needs to be rebalanced. Move the range farther away. This is an improvement. We felt that the stealth kill range was a little bit too close. You had to get a little bit too close to the opponent. So now the stealth kill range is the range of the sword. So as long as the sword hits the opponent, it will, while you're stealth, you will stealth kill an enemy.
What was there you are?
So I wasn't close enough that time. Come back and do it again. And you stealth kill enemy. Alright, that covers all of my issues that I have for this sprint, and were completed, and marked as completed, so thank you for watching, and pass it off to the next person.
Hello, my name is Dimitri Street, and today I'll be talking about what I completed for this week's sprint. Increased tower spot range, and basically I just had to align the spotlight with its actual range. Add a possessed pawn into the temple level, which makes the possessed ability be able to work in that level. Make the coin pack gives you like a predetermined set of coins instead of being randomized. And this was basically done to help with the end score and then the levels. Make it possible to take out the newest bot with melee from behind, which is basically allows you to one-shot them if you sneak behind them and hit them with your melee. Make the player be able to take fire damage, which is currently only possible from the fire arrows that you have.
Stop it, ow!
Blink improvements, which is basically have a vertical limit on it. It uses more mana and has a slower regen. have runes be its own color in dark vision to make them pop out compared to the other items. Add a light source to the player to be able to help them see where they're at in dark parts of a level. The score wheel allows you to use every ability even if you don't have the upgrade, and basically the bug is that it allows you to switch to all the abilities even if you haven't bought the upgrade. Slow time also slows down its own timer, and the bug is that the timer is also affected by the slow time, so I just have to make it not be affected by that.
What was that?
Coin pack is being counted as 1 instead of the amount of coins it actually gives in the end screen level, and basically it only counts as 1 instead of like 5, which is what it gives. Close enemies do not get hit by projectiles, and the bug basically is that the projectiles just go through them if you're like right next to them. Grenade timer does not show up in UI, and the bug is that the timer doesn't show up if you're not on the default level.
What's there you are?
And that's it. Thank you for watching.